know what Barbershop P do, pick a side. And LG, he do the same too, pick a side. In Stack City, he gon' need you, pick a side. Who are we? Pick a side. Who are you? Pick a side. You know what Barbershop P do, pick a side. And LG, he do the same too, pick a side. In Stack City, he gon' need you, pick a side. Who are we? Pick a side. Who are you? Pick a side.
Hoodlamb, Hoodlamb Apparel.
Pick a side. It's mandatory.
It's mandatory. I was waiting on it.
Hey, get off my Zoom.
How's your Zoom? I got the end button. What's good? It's your boy Stack City. And as usual, I got my boy, my brother, Barbershop P.
What's good, everybody?
My homie, my ace, my brother, LG. And we back with another episode. Hey, listen, before we get into it, let me go ahead and shout out the sponsor, Hoodlamb, H-O-O-D or H-O-O-D-L-A-M-B Apparel. All right, look up Hoodlamb Apparel on IG, or you can put in hoodlamb.shop, S-H-O-P, and go directly to the website. You can go to the website through the link in the bio of the IG, Hoodlamb Apparel, or hoodlamb.shop, and go straight to the website and get you something. Get you a hoodie, get you a t-shirt, get you a hat. We got all of that. All right. They ship all over the country. No issues, no problems. We've received many deliveries from them. All right. At least our fair share, you know, we've experienced it and it's been good to us. All right. They're the official sponsor, day one supporter. So shout out to Ron Stop. Shout out to Hoodlamb. We're going to keep repping.
Yeah.
Just like you heard in the theme song. We're going to keep repping. But anyway, so today, fellas, we're going to go into something that has been on my mind to talk about, and we're going to talk about it now because it could benefit somebody that's out there listening. All right, particularly a certain segment of our audience. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're three Black men, right? We don't shy away from that. It's who we are.
Right.
We're from America, so we're three Black men that have grown up in America. We've already had the topic, Black Man in America. That was one of our first releases. I think it was our second one. All right. I think that's our number 2 release as far as the order. So with that being said, we know that nobody has a perfect situation that they were born in or brought up in or anything by that nature. All right. Some may be better than others or whatever the case may be. But nothing's perfect. Nothing in this life is perfect and nobody's perfect. So no situation is perfect. Mm-hmm. With that being said, as 3 Black men who have achieved at least some level of success, all right? LG, I know you're a college graduate and you've, you're in the working world, taking care of your family. Same with me. P, I know you've been to college. You've also been to trade school and you're a successful barber. All right, so we didn't get caught up in a life that so many Black males get caught up in. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, my question for you fellas is, whatever you're willing to share, I want you to think about and talk about a difficult obstacle that you've had to overcome during your life to get to where you're at now. What is an obstacle that you've had to overcome? And it doesn't necessarily have to be related to being a Black man in America. Just any obstacle that you know you've had to overcome along your journey to get to where you are right now. What words of wisdom and advice through your journey and something that you've had to overcome can you share with our listeners?
Oh my God, man. Go ahead, cuz. You want to go first? Or
I mean,
either
without
way.
thinking about it real deep, I just thought about the first thing that came to my mind. I thought something that was hard was being the first to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
That was hard. You know what I'm saying? My parents didn't go to college. I didn't have any. At that time, I don't think I had any, like, not even like first cousins or Like I didn't have nobody. Like I didn't know anything about college. All I knew was I didn't want to stay home after I graduated high school. I didn't want to stay home. And I didn't think I was about that military life. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, I'm going to college, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, I didn't have nobody. I learned so much. I made so many mistakes because I was the first one. So I just think like that whole process of like going to one school, then transferring to another and switching multiple majors and trying to find out, you know, why I'm here, trying to make sure I prioritize academics more than, you know, intramural sports or social life or relationships or, you know, trying to, you know, try not to, you know, get caught up in the credit card stuff, trying to understand your financial loans, your financial aid. It was just a lot of stuff I was learning and a lot of stuff that I didn't know about. And I didn't really have that person in my, you know, in my family that I could be like, yo, how did you do? How did you do? You know what I'm saying?
System.
So, you know, I think that was definitely, I would consider that was the first thing that popped in my mind as far as being an obstacle because it just made it challenging because I was first, you know what I'm saying? But it was also good because I learned a lot of stuff, you know, and, you know, now I feel like I can help those after me. I have answers for those after me on how to get through college. If that's something they decide to do, is to go to a university to further their education.
Man, but it's a tough question. I can definitely agree with what Cuz said because I had that own experience in my own right. Because in my family, I was definitely the first generation college student from my like initial immediate family. But I'm gonna tackle it from a different perspective, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to word it. But I guess the obstacle I could say that I grew up with was not falling into that traditional, you know, track of a young Black man growing up with a single mom. And my mom was single and my mom's gay. So that's another aspect in itself entirely. So, and as a conservative Black man growing up, especially being in a Baptist church, you hear so much negative when it comes to the gay community or whatever the case is. So it was very rough coming up, trying to just figure out my place in life, where I wanted to be, what would my like finding my purpose. I feel like I'm still finding my purpose. And I'll be 30 this year. And I feel like I'm still finding my purpose, but I'm also striving for God more than I ever have at any point in my life. And, you know, just growing up, man, with a single mom, and like I said, see, a single mom is gay. It's like you get older and you learn that you're lacking a lot because, you know, no matter how good your mom is or whatever, like nothing can replace having a dad and a father figure. And I'm pretty sure you guys can definitely speak on that. And there was a lot of stuff that I lacked. And, you know, that situation is a whole other discussion. But as I got older, what we come in relationships, I realized like it's so much I didn't know. But how do you know something when you never seen that interaction on that level? Yeah, we all have our grandparents, but your grandparents are not your parents. So from my perspective, I never seen how to interact in, you know, male, female dominant relationship. And what do you do when your girl or what person you're with is feeling a certain type of way, or how do I break the ice in this situation? And, you know, like just different things that you should know or they're expected to know as a quote unquote man coming from the era that we still came from. And it was challenging because, you know, you have to, you learn a lot. And learning that process can be tough, and it's a lot of trial and error, and it's a lot of dark times because you see so many influences, and you have so much stuff that you could do otherwise, and it's like, man, forget this. I'm about to stop cutting hair, man. I'm about to hit the streets. I'm about to start selling. I'm about to do something, but I couldn't let none of that stuff tempt me because I didn't want to fall into that trap. I didn't want to, you know, get no felonies racked up on my record, any of that stuff, and it's like it's different. And I'm pretty sure anybody that is in that situation that I'm in, or maybe still going through that situation right now as a young man or a young woman, like it's tough, but what I can say is you're never going to have it all. like I said, I still feel like I'm finding my purpose. I still feel like I'm learning. I still feel like there's a lot that I still have to learn and that I'm yet to learn. But at the end of the day, I don't regret nothing. And one thing about Christians and like a lot of Christians, and I don't want to just attack Christian community, but like we can be very, very judgmental. And our job is not to judge. Like we're not the judge and jury and executioner. We're not. So if anything, if you see a person in a situation, you would think, you know, you will be lifting a helping hand or giving some type of advice instead of like shunning that person or talking down on them or looking at them different because they might have a mom or whatever that's gay or something like that, or whispering behind, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I would say for me, growing up and finding my purpose and like coming to terms with me not knowing, because everybody thinks it all, especially when you're young, and we're all still relatively young, and realizing that you don't know it all and that you have a lot to learn and that, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, can't nobody really lead you to where you need to go, for me, but God. And I just had to take my hands off the wheel and you know what I'm saying? And the old age old saying, let Jesus take the wheel, because life is rough, man. And it's, you growing up, you will realize that, man, your life is your toughest obstacle. And it's a lot of different things that comes with that, depending on your background and what you come from. So with me, I just say, you know, finding my purpose and like figuring out different things for our relationship wise and, you know, school, like LG was saying, like, man, it was tough. It's still tough.
All right. As far as I'm concerned, I'll answer the same question. You know, this is what makes us diverse. We have 3 totally different stories. All right. There's similarities in all 3 of us, you know, beyond the obvious of us being 3 Black men. There's other similarities as well, but our stories are a lot different, completely different. You know, like LG's situation growing up, you know, and the things that he had to overcome were different than P's. P's situation growing up, things he had to overcome were different than mine. From my perspective, both of them spoke on being the first in their family to go to school. From my perspective, all right, my grandparents on my dad's side, I never met them. All right, they both passed away before I was ever born. So I only knew my grandparents on my mom's side. You know, I knew both of them. My grandfather on my mom's side, he passed away when I was 13. And that was devastating, especially at that age, you know. So he was like, you know, he wasn't my dad, but he was the next closest, you know. And then my grandmother on my mom's side, she just passed away, God rest her soul, last year in 2020, right before the pandemic hit. Right before the pandemic hit, she passed away. But I bring them up because both of them went to high school, graduated high school, then after high school, they went to college. They graduated from college, right? So my grandma was 92 years old. My grandpa, if he were still alive, he would have turned 94 this year. So both of them were still alive. They'd be 94 and 93, you know, and obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but they're both Black, you know, and they went straight from high school and went to college, you know, and they went from college and they became teachers. And then my grandfather became a preacher. So like my grandparents graduated college. And that's where they graduated from Virginia Union University. That's where they met. Then my parents graduated college. Like my dad, you know, he went to Hampton University on a football scholarship and ended up becoming a college professor with a PhD in biology. So he's a doctor and a cancer research scientist. My mom is a lawyer. So my grandparents are college graduates. My parents are college graduates. I'm one of 4 kids. All right, all 3 of my siblings, I have 3 sisters, all 3 of them were top 5 in their graduating class and went on to graduate high school they went on to graduate high school near the top of their class. 2 of my sisters were number 2 in their class of a class of over 200 or 300 kids. They were number 2. And then the third one, she was number 5 in her graduating class. They went on to Carolina and they graduated from Carolina. And don't get it twisted. They didn't get to Carolina because they were Black and that helped them out. Like they would have got in, they're more than likely, it's a good chance they would have got in anyway, regardless of their skin color, because their grades, their SAT was that high. So for me, a big obstacle was like the standard that was already set, knowing that I was a little different in the way I thought. All right. So like for me, a big obstacle was learning how to learn in school. You know, not that I couldn't do the work, because I could. I just didn't really care about it because my strength wasn't how school is set up for you to be successful. My strengths, the things I was strong in were things like creativity, so like, so putting me on a set schedule where I have 4 periods a day or 7 periods a day, and I gotta, read a chapter and then take a quiz and then take a test. Like I had to be the ability to be able to do it, but like my brain didn't like best function that way. Like I like to, use my creativity to achieve, success, and that's what made me comfortable. You give me something that where my creative side of my brain can function well, and I'm comfortable. You put me on stage and I have to entertain, or in front of a camera and I have to entertain, and I'm comfortable. I'm not comfortable. I'm not as comfortable sitting in a classroom for 6 hours a day, trying to learn the traditional way. But that standard had already been set. And it's not that I felt pressure, but at the same time, I did feel like, there was a certain way I had to do it. Not that I couldn't have done it any other way. Not that my parents forced me to go to college, because they didn't. But like, I did feel like there was a certain way it had to be done. And when I graduated high school, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, because, I had spent so much time learning how to do it the school way. So I went to college. And by the grace of God, I graduated from college too. And now here I am living in the real world. Since I've been an adult, I'm 30 something years old. And since I graduated college, I've said this before, like I've been chasing dreams. I started chasing dreams in college. I did a bunch of different stuff. But I started chasing dreams in college. After college, like I've been trying to make the things that God has laid on my heart. I've been trying to make my dreams my reality, including here with Pick a Side. But at the same time, I've had to learn how to work a traditional job, 8 hours a day, going in, doing my job, being successful at it, so I can take care of my wife, so I can take care of my daughter, so I can take care of a family, the traditional way. So I've had to learn how to do things the traditional way just to be able to live and survive in the world, because I haven't made it off my creativity yet, while at the same time not completely squashing my dreams to let my creativity be a means by which I can achieve success in this world also, from a standpoint of taking care of my family. So like it's still a balance in that. But one of the biggest things I had to overcome was, learning how to do it in a traditional way, even though I never really felt like my mind worked best in a traditional sense.
Everybody learns different. Everybody creativity opens up different way.
Mm-hmm. So, that would be my answer to the question. Anything anybody else want to add to it before we close this one down, man? I just wanted us to share like what we went through, because it's always other people going through the same things that we went through, So this could be a benefit to somebody else that's listening, or to their child, or to their niece or nephew or cousin, whatever the case may be, and it also helps make us more real to the people as well. Helps people to learn our story. How we got here, and how our thought process went, and the things we had to overcome in order to get here. This isn't by luck. Like this isn't by chance. Like that we are here in front of you, not locked up, not in the streets, not doing any and everything just to get by, but like we had to overcome some things as well, and different things for the 3 different people involved in this. But nonetheless, challenges in our own right.
Definitely.
Well,
definitely. If I could say anything, I just tell everybody out here that's watching, you tuning in, man, don't give up. Everybody's story different. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't be afraid to stand out. Be different from the crowd, and whatever the end thing is and the popular thing is. Because I mean, everybody's different. So don't feel like you have to be popular or a cool kid or whatever the case is. Do you, and watch how that attracts other people. Like, just be yourself at the end of the day. And everybody's journey is different. Some might be the same, similarities, but everybody has their own path.
I agree. Hey, listen, fellas, I appreciate y'all sharing a piece of your personal past and history and things that you've been through with the audience. As always, this is Pick a Side. I love y'all, just like y'all my blood brothers, and we're gonna keep doing this thing, man.
Yeah.
That being said,
love y'all boys.
Yes, sir. It's still mandatory though, so pick a side.
Hey, Pick a side.